Hi.
We are.
How are you?
Extremely well.
Good, me too.
Never better.
Good.
Since this is the leading edge.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, now we're better again. Well, wait, now we're better again. Oh, wait, now we're better again. This could take a while.
I have a few questions, and I guess the first topic I want to talk about is the process of thought and kind of how it works. I mean, not sure where to start. Are we actually thinking these thoughts? And then are thoughts in similar proximity being attracted toward what we're currently thinking dominantly?
Well, we love the beginning here, and since this is the leading edge of thought, you might as well come along with us because we're going to go into a place we have not been before, thanks to your wonderful question. First, let us start with a very irritating premise that when you think a thought, immediately the thought begins to think. Now, that's the best way to stir this up. And the reason that we'd like to begin that way is because we want to first define what is thinking anyway. What is thinking? We sort of get an idea of what thought is. Thought's vibration. And so we call thought the noun of vibration, but what is the verb of thinking? In other words, what's the difference between the two? Now, let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. Let's talk about this vortex that law of attraction is responding to. And think about how law of attraction's response to a vibration causes an amassing of things that are like it. That, if you really want to get down to it, could be called thinking. So there is this vibrational escrow, a sort of swirling vortex that law of attraction is summoning all things like it. And so can you see how if you were to activate, let's use the word activate a thought rather than think a thought, activate a thought by giving your attention to it. Law of attraction's response to that activated thought would bring more information to you, which could be defined as what thinking is.
Okay. Yeah, will you?
We could say it again, but you wouldn't like it better the second time. In other words, everything is about vibration, and attention to any subject activates it within you. And once it's activated within you, now law of attraction's response to this activated vibration is going to bring more thoughts like it to you. And if you stay focused long enough, that activation and that summoning of more thoughts like it to you eventually is going to cause an occurrence to you where you are going to begin to then want to express what has occurred to you. You see?
Huh.
Perfect response. That's the response of pondering.
So, as you activate a thought, you focus on it for the 17 seconds. Are you attracting more thoughts like it?
Yes, and the 17 seconds, the way that comes in is if you are able to focus in a non-resistant way on any thought for as little as 17 seconds, that's when law of attraction kicks in and the next thought joins it. So the thinking just became more, you could say.
Okay.
The first 17 seconds I was thinking it, or offering a vibration of it. But when I focused for longer than 17 seconds, I kicked it into a higher gear because now law of attraction has amassed more. More thoughts like it have joined it. And the more thoughts like it that join it, the stronger the activation. And the stronger the activation, the more thoughts like it that join it. And the more thoughts like it that join it, the stronger the activation. Stronger the activation, the more thoughts like it that join it. And eventually, bang, manifestation. And then you say, oh, I knew that would happen.
So are we attracting just a higher level of thought? I don't know if that's the way to describe it, but are we attracting a higher level of thought? And then as we continue to track that higher level of thought, the inspiration then comes to take action.
Well, that is under the best of conditions the way it works. When you feel the motivation to act, it's usually because you're focused on something you don't want. And the desire to push against it is really what motivation is. Inspiration is the impulse to act, but that's calling you toward who you've become rather than pushing you away from something that you do not want. So the answer to your question is yes. When you focus upon something and therefore activate it within yourself, and you hold it for 17 seconds and another and another and another until you're able to cross the 68-second mark without contradicting the pure thought, Now you have come into the vibrational range of your own vibrational escrow, where all of the components of all of the things that you want are pulsing vigorously. And when you allow your proximity to that through this deliberate focus, now the feeling of inspiration, the feeling of impulse, the feeling of inspiration is the best word, the feeling of wanting to go there, the feeling that wild horses couldn't keep you from going there, the feeling, I'm going, I know you all disagree that I shouldn't go, but I'm going because I can feel the rightness of it for me. That's the feeling of coming into the vibrational range of the vortex or vibrational escrow that is really who you are.
And the momentum of the continuous thinking of that thought, as higher thought continues to attract to you, do you then attract thoughts on what actions to take?
All of that. Everything that is necessary, because in your physical form, the desire is for the manifestation of most things. Now, we know that everything that you want in terms of manifestation, you want it for the way you will feel within it. But you can't separate your desire for manifestation from your desire. It's inherent within the vibration. And you will be inspired to the perfect path that will lead you there. Sometimes it's interesting. Oh, hear this. You're going to like this so much. Sometimes the perfect path to inspire you to something you really want feels like the wrong path because all it did is stir you up and make you mad. What went wrong, you say to us? Abraham, this can't be right. I felt inspired to go and he turned out to be a real jerk. And we say, yes, but the jerky person that he was inspired you to more clarity, or the bad experience inspired you to more clarity. The inspiration can only be deciphered by you in as pure a form as you are pure. And if you've got resistance going on within you, you can often feel a feeling of inspiration, but you can only decipher it through the clouded lens that you got going on. And if you got a clouded lens going on, then it will manifest in proportion to the contradiction of vibration you've got going on. Oh, did that clear up a whole lot for a whole lot of you?
Wow, okay.
And in any of that, is anything wrong with any of that?
No.
In other words, isn't it wonderful? That's why we say you can't get it wrong and you never get it done. And the reason you can't get it wrong is because it is never done. No matter where you stand, you're still having clarifying experiences that are causing you to give birth to more poignant, more precise vibrational escrow. But you see, the problem that most physical humans have is not that they have not created a wonderful vibrational escrow. You have. We've seen it. Your problem, if you deem that you have one, is that you've practiced vibrations that aren't up to speed with it, and so you keep getting cluttered inspirations, so to speak, because you've got a bunch of stuff going on in your vibration. The better you feel, the more in tune with who you really are you are. It's just as simple as that. But that's almost too Pollyanna for most to hear. We don't want to talk about hope. We'd rather talk about problems.
So on the same subject, when we gather that momentum, we're basically attracting new ideas on actions to take.
We like that word you keep throwing in here, momentum. We gather momentum. And we just want to phrase it a little differently. We are going to say law of attraction is the gatherer of thoughts that are likened to themselves, which results in the sensation that you are calling momentum.
That's nice.
The feeling of momentum is me finally figuring out how to get up to speed with who I really am. That's momentum. And of course, you can feel momentum toward unwanted things, and you can feel momentum toward who you really are. But the more you tap into who you really are, any stepping toward who you're not doesn't feel like momentum. It feels like things going wrong.
Okay.
The momentum in the way you mean it and the way we answered you, that momentum, that aligning with who you are, that aligning with your vibrational escrow, that becoming who life has caused you to become, that sensation of momentum always is thrilling. Better word, always positive emotion. And by positive emotion, we don't mean bouncing off the wall enthusiasm, although it could mean that. We don't mean only love, although it could mean that. We mean, a feeling of interest, a feeling of infectious intention, a feeling of wanting to give my attention to it, a feeling of deep, deep interest and satisfaction. In other words, there are a lot of different words that can be used to describe that sort of alignment, which is the feeling of momentum that you were talking about.
Okay. And that feeling of inspiration, is there a question of what that feeling is?
Well, you have to keep defining it for yourself. Jerry and Esther were talking about this the other day. They're on their way after the seminar on Sunday up to Oregon to pick up their Number 2, Monster Bus, the new, beautiful, even more beautiful version of it. And this bus is 3 years old, and it seems and looks like it's a day old. It doesn't look different than the day they bought it, but it feels different than the day they bought it because they are accustomed to it. Mm-hmm. So there is a feeling of enthusiasm because they, through life, have expanded beyond their current monster bus. And what's in their vibrational escrow and already manifested, sitting there sparkling, waiting for them to come and get it, is their new monster bus. And the feeling of inspiration is not the same as the first bus, because the contrast between not having it and having it no longer exists. So what happens is your feelings of expansion begin to feel more and more subtle to you as you tune yourselves to the higher frequencies of who you are. You will reach the place where you will just expect things to turn out well for you, and so you won't be one who says, "Can you believe that?"
Yeah.
Because you did believe it. You believed it all along. You never expected anything less. So you're not bowled over by it because it's just a done deal to you. In other words, you know life is supposed to be good for you, and it intrigues you. It's of interest to you. It's soothing and satisfying how it unfolds. But you're not bouncing off the wall in amazement anymore because you're just used to things going well for you because you've adjusted to the well-being of who you are.
And you've said it at times it feels like the next logical step.
It is the next logical step. Okay. It feels like the next logical step. But, now this is really worth saying.
Okay.
While that feels like the next logical step, stepping backwards will always feel off. You see, because there is no regression. You can't step back from who you have become.
Right, yeah. Okay. Thank you.